I'm Stuart Cameron. Welcome to Friday's Look at Rugby. And in the show today, a preview of Scotland and Italy, plus an exclusive chat with Gregor and Lewis Young on why they threw in the towel and quit their contracts with Scotland's Sevens. Part one of that fascinating interview later on. But last weekend we were back into league action. Melrose won the derby at Netherdale against Gala, which helped their cause of getting a home tie in the playoffs. Their final match is against Ayr at the end of March, and that match will determine which of the two get to play at home when the two are likely to be playing against each other for a place in the final. Hawick beat Edinburgh Accies 14-7 to send the City side tumbling out of the Premiership, and at the same time, that win kept Hawick's hopes alive of getting into that fourth playoff spot. In the National League First Division, Selkirk made it 18 on the bounce in the league with a convincing 32-0 win against Jedforest. That means a win for them tomorrow at Aberdeen will give them promotion into the Premiership as champions. That's a game we'll be covering from Rubislaw on tomorrow afternoon's Saturday Scoreboard Live programme, with Stuart McFarlane heading up to Aberdeen for that one and hopefully bringing us some good news. Kelso drew with Mar last week, while Peebles went down heavier than Madonna did at the Brits to a strong Watsonian side. Hawick YM won at Dunfermline by the odd point in 33, while in the East League, the only local win went to Hawick Quins in the derby against Langham. And so to tomorrow, it's Scotland against Italy at BT Murrayfield, kick-off 2:30, and we hear from Massimo Cucita, Scotland's former Italian cap and now scrum coach, Stuart Hogg, Blair Cowan, and first, Captain Greg Laidlaw.
Played really well in the first two games, really frustrating for us as players just to come up a little bit short, but I think our attacking with ball in hand has been brilliant. We've put teams under pressure and it's just fine-tuning now. I think we need to watch our penalty count, keep that low, don't let the Italians into the game, keep a hold of the ball and attack, make them defend us. If we do that, I think we can win the game.
Stuart Hogg is on fire at the moment for Scotland and believes a win is just around the corner.
I think every game for us is massive. One for us this weekend is to get back on the horse and get back to winning ways. We've put in two cracking performances and we're making and creating opportunities, but we're just not finishing them off. And hopefully this week will be a different case, and we can get over the line and hopefully get that win.
Former Italy cap Massimo Cucita was brought into the coaching setup at Scotland by Andy Robinson a few years ago, and the 69 times capped former Italian prop knows a thing or two about how to beat the Italians. Here's his take.
I think Italy has always been a dangerous team. They've proven last week against England they scored 3 tries, so there's a lot of respect for them, to be honest. We can't underestimate them. We know that they're going to give us a good run for. It's going to be a hard game against them, but this is their Six Nations game. They target this game for sure. Definitely they will. If they can win this game, this is their Six Nations. They will come here and give everything. That's one thing that we all know.
Finally, let's hear from Blair Cowan, who's certainly established himself as a permanent fixture for the moment in the back row.
No bones about it, our penalty count's too high for our liking, and at the end of the day that's probably what's let us down and getting those wins. And we've been putting out some fantastic rugby and playing some lovely stuff as the penalties that have cost us the wins. So it's something that's been brought up and a lot of non-negotiable as far as discipline around the breakdown. So it is something that we've targeted for this weekend to drop our penalty count.
Blair Cowan. Well, I'll be at BT Murrayfield tomorrow with Graham McGregor covering Scotland against Italy right here on Radio Borders. We'll have a look at tomorrow's local fixtures shortly, but we'll hear part one of an interview I did now with twins Gregor and Lewis Young, the Jedforest players who sensationally turned their back on their Scotland Sevens contracts to return to Jed. Well, I caught up with them down at Riverside Park, and here's part one of that exclusive interview. Well, out of the blue, the young twins are back at Jedforest, and as you can see, they're wearing the Jedforest colours very, very proudly. And let's talk a bit about Jed first of all, because I mean, you adore the place, don't you?
Yeah, it's the club that we grew up playing for through mini rugby, school level, the whole way through until the senior career, until we signed professional. So it's always going to be our home club, and every time we pull that on the jersey, we always want to perform well and give back to the town that's gave so much to us.
And Lewis, it's very important to you as well, of course. And in this day and age of professional rugby, etc., there's a lot of players who don't really play for the jersey anymore. Let's put it like that. And it's refreshing to see you guys, for instance, and others looking after your clubs.
Yeah, that's it. Like me and Gregor both felt when we actually sat down and spoke about the next step in our careers, Jed was always the big sort of key part of that decision as well, because we wanted to be back. We wanted to be back playing with the boys and for the town, and it's just pulling on that royal blue jersey is like nothing else. Like we go away. We've played international rugby at the Sevens and stuff, and it's the same feeling, a similar feeling to pulling on a jersey for your country than it is to pull on for your town and club, really. So. And
the club has certainly looked after you as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they've coaches through mini rugby, through the Thistle, like they've gave so much to us, and it
feels right to pay them back, really. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But of course, a lot of people weren't expecting you back so soon. So, what actually happened?
We were training for Dubai in South Africa, and it was a 6-7 week block with the Sevens. We didn't get selected, but that wasn't really a huge factor in why we left. It was more that we were told we would play for 3-4 weeks with Gala, who we were drafted to, and ended up only playing one game each because they were wanting us to hit some targets in the gym that we'd already hit. Like, we couldn't do any more than what we were doing with the rugby, and it was disappointing because we would train hard with the squad throughout that whole block, and they'd bring a guy in for one day of training before the flu, which was very, very disappointing for us. And in the end, we were deprived of rugby for a very long time. So
I was lucky enough to see a lot of the world through Scotland Sevens, and people always say, "Oh, you got to travel the world. Why are you so disappointed? Why did you leave in that?" But that's not a factor to me. Like, the factor was I love the game, and unfortunately started losing interest in it just because I was training hard and just not getting the happiness to getting on that pitch and performing for my country. So ultimately we made that decision to come back to Jed because we knew what it was like before when playing 15s and playing the Sevens circuit and winning Kings of Sevens and stuff. We got that buzz for this club that I didn't get when I was playing professionally with Scotland Sevens. So unfortunately that's what happened, and we made the decision, and we both are not regretting it. It's probably one of the best decisions we've made by far in our rugby career.
The fact of you sign professional rugby when you're young, it's what you look up to. You look up to the professional game, and we signed 3 years ago because we thought it's great. We'll be rugby, and it was rugby training to a certain extent. We never played a game, and that's what you live to do. You live to play a game against great opposition, and we just didn't get that chance very much.
And of course, the youngsters look up at you as well. I mean, were they a little bit surprised, a little bit confused, because you're obviously role models for, particularly, down here in Jed. And what sort of feedback did you get from them? Because I would imagine they're kind of going to sleep at night and they're looking at, they've got pictures of you on the wall and all this kind of stuff, as we all did when we were youngsters. We all had our heroes, looking to play for Scotland, and you guys had that, and now you're back at Jed. No disrespect to Jed, of course.
We'll never ever say to anyone, don't do it. But just think long and hard what you want to get out of it, because as youngsters, myself and Gregor looked up to Scotland players and international rugby players, professional rugby players, and it was all we really wanted to do. And you do become sort of like idols when you're at that level, and all the youngsters love speaking to you if you're out in the town or wherever you are. You can be anywhere in the borders and they love it. And we loved that part of being a professional rugby player, was being able to go down and help kids out and help coach kids, because they loved it as well. But we've had a lot of support from everyone in the borders, because I think they knew the situation we were in.
Were the others surprised at the decision? Because it's, not a decision you took lightly, obviously.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of it was going on in the background, and we didn't want media and the players or teammates finding out. So there was only a select few people knew about what was going on, but because it had went on that long, and they were in Scotland were asking us basically to stay with them to train, and then once they had headed to Vegas and New Zealand, then they would have mutually agreed to release us. But by then it was just basically they were just wanting to take 11 of us, and
it was too late. We wouldn't get any more rugby out of that, and that was a decision that we made. We made to get back to playing rugby.
So we did. So then that's when we decided just to step out of the contract, and
it was a big.
There was a lot of people shocked by it, even when we announced it in the change rooms after one of the Jed games that we were going to be returning. It was the boys were shocked, but they were pretty happy as well, just to have their friends and more numbers down to help Jedforest. So it was good.
Who made the decision first between you?
Well, I had been for a while, just basically because I was coming off the bench the whole time and getting 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there, and just not being able to show, just to get given a chance to prove what I could have done. And Lewis started when we went away to Australia. He played a bit more, but he just wasn't getting the chance, and we both came home and sat down with the family and just discussed what we could maybe do from here on in, and we came to a decision that it was very, very hard to make, but it was, like I say, everybody backed it to the hilt, and we are both happy with our decision to be back at Jedforest. So.
You presumably both still have ambitions to wear the full Scottish jersey. How will this decision that you made affect that?
In the long term, because we did walk out on the union, the chances are that we probably will never ever pull on a Scotland jersey again. But the good thing for us is we can go elsewhere, pick up another professional contract, hopefully in 15s, and if you're making a name for yourself down south or abroad, then what is the chances in not getting selected?
I think what it was like, if we were to sit on the bench or no play rugby and just train the whole time, we're not actually getting anywhere because we're not getting to show our skills on the pitch. So being back here, we can play for Jed, put in our best performances as we can, and if something happened with Scotland and they decided that maybe they should have given us a chance in that, we would definitely take them up on it and go back there. But right now all we're concentrating is getting back on the pitch, playing games and starting to enjoy it again, and really focusing on putting in a good performance and helping out Jed. So.
Part 2 of that interview on next week's show. But let's have a quick look at the fixtures for tomorrow. Aberdeen against Selkirk, we mentioned, that's a 3 o'clock kick-off. GHA against Kelso kicks off at 1:30. Stumel against Jedforest at 12:30. That's all in National League 1. In East League 1, it's Dalkeith against Duns at 12:30. Hoyt-Lindeen against Berwick at 1 o'clock. And Linlithgow against Langham at 12:30. In East League 3, it's Broughton against Walkerburn at 12 o'clock. In the BT Borders Shield, St Boswell's are going against Hoyk Harlequins. 12:30 kick-off for that. St Boswell's needing just 1 point to make it through to the semi-final stage of the National Shield competition to take on North Berwick. But of course, if they win tomorrow, they will become Borders Shield champions. Then on Sunday, the Scottish Under-18 Cup final on the main pitch at BT Murrayfield, Jed Thistle out to retain the trophy they won last year against Highland. Meanwhile, on the back pitches in the Under-18 Bowl final, it's Melrose Wasps against Musselburgh Colts. So a packed programme today, but that's it for your Rugby Tonight.